But the numbers don't support that.
They absolutely do. The data is clear.
What data? Show me the source. It's public record.
Tension started before the cameras even rolled. Mark Wahlberg arrived at the studio for The View with his usual calm confidence. He had done tough interviews before. Political questions. Expected. Cultural debates. Fine. He knew the format. But what happened that morning felt different. From the opening segment, Joy Behar wasn't easing into the conversation. Her tone was sharp, measured, but pointed. The topic shifted from his new film to comments he'd made in a recent interview about discipline, faith, and Hollywood culture. Joy leaned forward. Some critics say your comments sound judgmental, she said. Do you think you're positioning yourself as morally superior? The audience murmured. Mark blinked once. He smiled, but it wasn't relaxed. No, he replied evenly. I'm speaking about my own life. What works for me. Joy didn't let it settle. But when you say the industry lacks values, that's not just personal. That's commentary. The co-hosts exchanged glances. One attempted to pivot back to his film. Joy brought it back. That's when the shift happened. Mark's voice stayed calm, but the warmth thinned. I didn't come here to criticize anyone. I came to talk about growth. If that makes people uncomfortable, maybe that says more about them than me. The audience gasped softly. Joy raised an eyebrow. So now it's our fault. It's not about fault, Mark said. It's about perspective. But live television thrives on tension, and tension was now front and center. Joy pressed further, referencing old controversies from decades ago, events Mark had publicly addressed and apologized for years prior. People question whether you've truly changed, she added. That landed harder than anything else. Mark sat back. For a split second, you could see the internal calculation. Engage, deflect, walk away. I've spent 20 years trying to make amends, he said, voice firm now. I've owned my past. If this conversation is about dragging that up for ratings, I'm not interested. The audience clapped, some supportive, some stunned. Joy replied coolly, accountability isn't dragging. It's discussion. The air felt electric. A producer's voice reportedly crackled through an earpiece. The segment was running long. The tension wasn't cooling, it was escalating. Mark leaned toward the table one last time. There's a difference between accountability and provocation. Silence. Joy crossed her arms slightly. We ask questions here. And I answer them, Mark said. But I won't sit here and be reduced to headlines from 30 years ago. That was the moment producers made the call. The show abruptly cut to commercial earlier than scheduled. When it returned, Mark wasn't at the table. Whoopi Goldberg smoothly transitioned. Well, that was a lively conversation. She pivoted to the next segment. Backstage reports later claimed it wasn't a dramatic escort or security situation, but a mutual decision. Producers felt the tone had crossed into territory that would only get more volatile. Mark's team agreed it was better to exit than escalate. Within minutes, clips flooded social media. Headlines split into two camps. Mark Wahlberg storms off The View. Joy Behar refuses to back down in heated exchange. Debate erupted online. Some praised Joy for asking tough questions. Others felt the line between accountability and antagonism had blurred. Later that evening, Mark released a short statement. I respect open dialogue, but growth means moving forward. I'm focused on that. The show never used the phrase kicked off. But the moment stuck, because what viewers witnessed wasn't just a celebrity clash. It was a live demonstration of something bigger. How far should accountability stretch? When does questioning become confrontation? And in a world built on viral clips, who really wins? The next morning, ratings were up. But so were conversations. And sometimes, that's the real headline. The studio lights inside The View were brighter than usual that morning, almost blinding against the tension that lingered in the air. Producers whispered behind cameras. Audience members shifted in their seats. Everyone sensed that this wasn't going to be a typical celebrity interview. When Mark Wahlberg walked onto the stage, he carried his usual confident energy, firm handshake, quick smile, sharp suit. The crowd applauded loudly. Across the table sat Joy Behar, ready with her signature smirk and stack of notes. At first, the conversation felt routine. They discussed Mark's latest film project, his disciplined daily routine, and his journey from Boston streets to Hollywood fame. He spoke passionately about hard work, faith, and family. The audience nodded along. Then Joy leaned forward. So Mark, she began, adjusting her glasses, you've always been vocal about personal responsibility and traditional values. Some critics say that mindset ignores systemic issues. How do you respond to that? The room grew quieter. Mark smiled politely. I think accountability matters. I grew up around tough situations. I made mistakes, but I believe in owning them and working hard to change. Joy raised an eyebrow. But not everyone has the same opportunities you did later in life. Mark's expression tightened slightly. Opportunities came after years of discipline. Nothing was handed to me. The exchange began to feel less like a discussion and more like a debate. Other co-hosts tried to interject, but Joy continued pressing. Do you think your platform influences young people in a way that oversimplifies complex social realities? Mark leaned back in his chair. I think encouraging hard work and faith isn't oversimplifying. It's empowering. A ripple moved through the audience, some applause, some murmurs. Joy responded quickly, empowering for who, though? The tension sharpened. Mark paused before answering. For anyone willing to commit to growth. Producers behind the scenes started signaling to wrap the segment. But Joy wasn't done. You're suggesting effort alone determines outcome. Mark's tone grew firmer. I'm saying mindset matters more than excuses. A few audience members gasped. The co-host shifted uncomfortably. At that moment, a commercial break cue flashed. Instead of easing off, Joy made one final remark off script, referencing a past controversy from Mark's early life. The mention caught him off guard. That was over 30 years ago, Mark said, his voice now serious. I've addressed it publicly and taken responsibility. Joy pressed again. But does the audience fully understand that history? Mark exhaled slowly. If this is about growth, then growth means not being defined forever by your worst moment. The crowd erupted into mixed reactions, half applause, half stunned silence. As the show cut to break, microphones were muted, but cameras briefly caught Mark standing up from his chair. Producers rushed in. A hushed but intense conversation followed off-air. When the show returned, Mark was no longer at the table. A co-host calmly explained, due to time constraints, we've concluded the interview. Social media exploded within minutes. Clips of the heated exchange went viral. Supporters praised Mark for staying composed. Critics defended Joy for asking tough questions. By afternoon, headlines read, Mark Wahlberg storms off The View, after heated exchange. Later that evening, Mark released a brief statement emphasizing respectful dialogue and personal growth. Meanwhile, Joy addressed the situation on the following episode, stating that spirited debate is part of live television. The incident became one of the most talked about daytime TV moments of the year, a reminder that live broadcasts can shift from friendly to fiery in seconds. And in the world of television, sometimes the most unforgettable moments are the ones no one planned. The studio lights of The View had barely warmed up when the tension began to simmer. That morning's guest was Mark Wahlberg, invited to promote his latest project and discuss his journey from Hollywood star to businessman and family man. The audience expected a lively conversation. What they didn't expect was a clash that would explode across social media within minutes. At first, everything seemed smooth. The hosts welcomed Mark with applause, highlighting his long career, from action blockbusters to faith-based films. Mark smiled, thanked the audience, and spoke warmly about discipline, early mornings, and staying grounded in his beliefs. But then came the turn. Joy Behar, known for her sharp wit and blunt questions, shifted the tone. She leaned forward and brought up comments Mark had made in past interviews about Hollywood culture and personal responsibility. Some people say your views come off as judgmental, Joy said carefully, though her expression suggested she was ready for a debate. Do you think everyone just needs to work harder, or do you acknowledge systemic challenges? The audience went quiet. Mark adjusted in his seat. His smile faded slightly. I've always believed in accountability, he replied calmly. But that doesn't mean I ignore real struggles. I just speak from my experience. Joy pushed further. But your experience includes privilege. Do you think your message lands differently for people who don't have your opportunities? A few audience members clapped. Others murmured. Mark's jaw tightened. I grew up in a tough neighborhood. Nothing was handed to me, he said firmly. I made mistakes, paid for them, and worked my way out. That's not privilege, that's growth. The co-hosts exchanged glances. One attempted to redirect the conversation toward his film, but Joy wasn't done. You've also criticized aspects of the entertainment industry, she added. Yet you continue to benefit from it. The tension thickened. Mark leaned forward now. You can critique something and still be part of it. That's how change happens. The audience clapped louder this time. Joy responded with a half smile. Or maybe that's just good PR. That line hit differently. Mark paused. The studio air felt heavier. I'm not here for PR, he said slowly. I'm here to have a real conversation. But if this is about scoring points, I'm not interested. Gasps echoed softly from the crowd. The moderator attempted to smooth things over, cutting to commercial earlier than planned. When the show returned, the energy had shifted completely. Mark seemed guarded. Joy appeared unfazed. Another question, this time about political divisions, sparked yet another exchange. Mark emphasized unity and faith. Joy challenged the practicality of his stance in today's polarized climate. Finally, after a particularly sharp remark suggesting that celebrities should stick to acting, Mark exhaled deeply. I respect this platform, he said. But respect goes both ways. He removed his microphone, stood up, and thanked the audience politely. The crowd erupted, some cheering, some stunned. The producers scrambled. The camera quickly cut away as Mark exited the stage. Within minutes, clips flooded social media. Hashtags trended worldwide. Supporters praised him for standing his ground. Critics accused him of overreacting. Debate panels dissected every second of the exchange. By afternoon, headlines blared. Mark Wahlberg walks off The View. Joy Behar's sharp question sparks exit. Live TV clash divides fans. Neither side issued an immediate statement, but insiders later revealed that backstage conversations were calmer than the on-air fireworks. While emotions ran high during the broadcast, both parties reportedly understood that passionate debates are part of live television. Still, the moment became one of the most talked about daytime TV incidents of the year. Because in the world of live television, especially on The View, unpredictability isn't just possible. It's inevitable. If you want, I can write the next version even more dramatic, with backstage confrontation and producer chaos. Studio K backstage ka mahal ab bilkul badal chukata. Social media par, Mark vs Joy, trend ka raha ta, lekan asli kahani ab shuru ho rahi thi. Production team any emergency meeting delay. Executive producer ne kaha, ye surf ek argument nahi ta, ye TV history ka moment ban sakta hai. Lekin Saad High Network co-legal or PR Car Bhi Kyle Ta. Mark Car reaction. Uzi Ra, Mark Wahlberg Ne Apni Team K Sath Meeting Ki. Wagus Mine Nahi Ta, Lekin Disappointed Zaror Ta. Main debate K Liye Aya Ta, Disrespect K Liye Nahi, Un Kamli Kaha. Agli Suba, Unek Short Video Message Release Kia. Un Kaha. Healthy Discussion Achi Bart High. Lekin Jab Bart Personal Ho J, To Fear Wo Discussion Nahi Reda. Video viral ho gaya. Millions views, thousands comments, log divide ho gay. The View car side. Dusri Taraf, The View ne apna official statement the live television mine emotions hi ho sakt hain. Hum diverse opinions co welcome card hain. Lekin sab se zyada spotlight pa thi joy bahar. Next episode mine joy ne directly camera ki taraf dek car kaha. Main apni bart pa kari hoon. Debate heated ho sakti hi, lekin sak bolna zaruri hi. Audience ne mixed reaction dia, kuch clap kar rahi the, kuch bilkul silent. Twist, Dudin bar ek or surprise aya. Mark ko ek rival network ne invite kia, prime time exclusive interview ke liye. Host ne pucha, kya aap dobra The View par jayinga. Mark ne hawker sa smile kia. Main cubby door nahi bagta. Lekin respect dono taraf se hona chahiye. Usline ne fear se internet tod dia. Backstage secret. Sources ne bataya k argument k bard actually Mark or Joy ne private conversation bhi ki thi. Cameras ban thay. Wahan tone bilkul different thi, zyada calm, zyada mature. Lekin wo moment public ko kubhi nahi dikhaya gaya. Final scene, for now. Ek mahin bard, rumors are k Mark ko fear se invite kiya ya raha hai, redemption episode, k liye. Question ye hai, kya wo wapas jayega. Ya ye clash TV history car permanent chapter ban chuka hai. Agar tum chaho domain next part mine batown k comeback episode mine kya hoda hai, smirk.